Hello and welcome everybody to today's Commodities Corner presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. So during today's session, we will be covering live market analysis. We will go through a watch list of trade ideas, a forecast of where we expect gold, silver and oil to be heading next, and of course we'll be answering questions and providing live support. There is a chat function for you to ask any questions. Contributions are always very welcome, so feel free to put any questions or comments into the chat. So let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is regarded as the go-to authority on commodities trading. As internationally respected experts, our analysis and our opinions on the metals, the energies, and the agricultural markets, they're routinely sought by major financial television channels and publications, which include Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal. Our team of experts has trained and mentored thousands of traders from all over the world to invest in the finance markets with confidence using our exclusive strategies. So for more information on the Gold and Silver Club and our expertise, please do visit www.thegoldandsilverclub.com. Okay, fantastic. So let's get right into it. There's been a lot of movement over the course of this week. So we've seen certainly some significant moves. And I'll break it down for you. I'll go through really chronologically what has happened this week. I'm sure a lot of you are aware, but I'll break it down for you when we go through the charts and some of the trade ideas and opportunities which are developing at the moment. For those of you who are on Wednesday's session or you watch the recording, a lot of the anticipated safe haven move has now occurred. So we've seen significant breakout in gold this week, silver this week as well. We've also seen a big breakdown on equities like the S&P 500. The volatility index has spiked. Safe havens such as the Swiss franc and the Japanese yen have been bid up. So we've definitely seen a big week of volatility. Essentially, gold has broken out now to 2-month highs. Prices continued higher, rising to 2-month highs amid this deepening anxiety over the war of words between the US and North America. And we've also seen silver breaking out to 9-week highs as well. So there's been some significant moves. Now, silver today is up just under 0.5%. Gold is up 0.08%. You can see here, just in terms of the major movers today, the biggest moves have been to the upside on gold and silver. The S&P 500 down 1.4% on the day. Also, oil now is down 0.7% on the day as well. And overall, we've seen weakness in Australian dollar this week and also euro and pound as well. So across the board, we've seen quite significant moves. Most notably was a sell-off we've seen in equities, global equities, including Asia as well as Europe, and also, of course, the US as well. So we've seen some significant moves, and I'll talk you through that on the charts as well. The major data item we have coming up today, which traders are watching closely, is the consumer price index. The core CPI is going to be very important, okay? And that release is coming up at 1:30 London time. If inflation spikes significantly ahead of expectations, we could see some very big moves across the precious metals and for the dollar index as well. At the same time, a miss to the downside would also spark serious doubts over December rate hikes. So we need to see whether we see a spike in inflation or we see a move lower as to whether what sort of impact that will have on the US dollar. And I'll talk you through that in more details as we go over to the charts. Now, in terms of the execution of trades, we'll be looking at two types of trade here, so either the higher or the lower, and very straightforward way to execute trades here on the binary.com platform. This is a wonderful tool to have as part of your trader toolbox, especially in times of volatility right now. There are, for example, the potential for more follow-through moves at the moment on US equities. We can see gold breakout today. It's sitting very near the 2-year highs here. It's not far off from 1,300, but you need to be able to take these trades without having to have huge stop losses in the market. And that's where binary can be really useful, because all you need to do is be able to get on the back of momentum, and the trade just essentially needs to close higher or lower within your direction over the specified time frame. So it's really good in conditions with a lot of volatility. That's exactly what we've got at the moment. Now, the way it works, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, is that you put your start time, your duration, which could be a couple of hours, could be several hours, could be several days. You put your payout, which could be anything from £5, £50, £500, £5,000, depending on the size of your portfolio and what you're comfortable to risk on a position. And then you've got your stake and also your payout here as well. So you know upfront what your risk is on the trade. It's very transparent. You're not going to lose more than you have on your upfront stake there. So you know what you're risking, you know what your potential payout is, so everything is very clear. So for example here, for the price to be higher, we'd be looking at a deposit. So I'm looking for a payout of 5,000. For the stake on the trade is £2,843 and 26 pence. If the trade wins, win 5,000. If the trade loses, lose the stake on the trade. Very straightforward. For the price to be lower, the stake £2,853 and 1 pence. If the trade wins, make £5,000. If the trade loses, lose the stake. Okay, which is identified in red. So that is the way that we execute trades on the binary.com platform. Higher or lower, we find tends to be one of the best ways to take advantage of momentum, of volatility, and the trade setups that we see across the markets. So with that, guys, we'll move over to the charts. We'll go through some live technical analysis. I'll talk you through some trade ideas. As I mentioned earlier, feel free to ask any questions, any comments as well. Occasionally, you do lose sound when I move over to the charts, and I'll just also put, for those of you who might need to leave a little bit earlier, but I often get requests for this, I'll just put the link there for all of you, which is www.jointhegoldensilverclub.com if you want access to our daily live trade ideas each day during the week as well, and you want access to become a member of the Gold and Silver Club, which I'll talk you through a bit later. But if you do want access to that information, it's available to you just via that link, okay? Fantastic. So with that, let's go over to it. I'll move you over to the charts and I'll talk you through what we're seeing at the moment, okay? And we've got some major news items, CPI data coming up very shortly. So I just share my screen, so hopefully you will be able to see my screen. Quick check-in, you can still hear me okay, and the sound is okay. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Sharice. Okay, good. So I think what is worthwhile doing, we go through a few different scenarios here in a few different markets. Bird's eye view at the moment, so there's quite a lot going on here. We've got US dollar, Japanese yen, US dollar index, we've got silver, and we've also got the S&P 500, we've got gold, Japanese yen futures, and a few requests also to just cover Bitcoin as well, because it's broken out again to all-time highs just today. So I will cover that off for those of you who are actively trading that as well. So we'll have a look at that shortly too. Now, I want to bring your attention to the volatility index. This move is huge. This is the biggest move that we've seen since the November elections in 2016, which is all the way back here on the chart. So we've had some very back here on the chart. We've had very significant move on the volatility index, and this is coming out of 15-year lows here. 15-year lows of volatility, which in contrast has continued to see over the course of 2017, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones breaking out to all-time highs. Volatility moves in direct inverse correlation to the S&P 500, okay, and also the Dow Jones. So this huge spike to the upside, massive, massive spike, and a lot of options traders who had call options on this would have done extremely well because of the huge move that we've seen in the upside. It's the biggest move here in over a year. Huge, huge move of volatility. So that's been quite incredible to see that breakout to the upside off the back of geopolitical tension, okay, which we've seen really escalate over the last week. I'll show you another chart as well, which if you haven't seen this yet, you should have on your radar. This is the S&P 500, which we actually shorted as well. We took advantage of a sell short opportunity earlier on in the week. Actually, I discussed this on Wednesday as well during the training session that we did. You can go back and watch that on YouTube, on the Binary YouTube channel, or just go to Binary, the Twitter, or my Twitter, actually, Gold Silver Phil. You'll see the recording of Wednesday's session as well, where we talked about this. So we have seen quite a big breakdown here, well, a very sizable breakdown here. It's the biggest breakdown that we've had over the course of this year since June of last year. So it's been a very significant move, 1.5% decline here on the S&P 500, and we're hovering around next key level of support here at the moment. So if you haven't seen that already, it's been a big week. We've seen some really big volatility in the market. So going back to gold, gold is really close now to 1,300 US dollars per ounce. So what's been going on? What's been happening? Why has all this occurred? I'm sure a lot of you are aware already, but I'll just give you a little bit of background. So gold prices, they've broken out and touched almost the highest level in more than 2 months here today, as rising tensions between the United States and North Korea have triggered safe haven buying. So yesterday, last night, Trump warned North Korea again on Thursday not to strike Guam or US allies, saying that his earlier threat to unleash fire and fury, which is what the press conference he released on Tuesday stated, which caused all of this move in the market, essentially. He has stated now that if they launched an attack, he may not have been tough enough. And at the press conference yesterday, that's what he stated. So he didn't backtrack at all, and that sort of calmed the markets down a little bit over Wednesday. Not a great deal, but it did calm the markets down a little bit in the sense that it was perceived that Donald Trump had gone overboard on Tuesday, but then he backed up again his comments on Thursday, saying that he wasn't actually tough enough. So again, gold broke out, and we saw S&P 500 break down. The volatility index skyrocketed, and there's a lot of tension now around this from a safe haven point of view. Gold is very near to breaking out from 1300 levels, and now all traders are just waiting for the consumer price index data to come out at 1:30 London time in the next 50 minutes for the next big move. Okay, so gold is roughly around the 2-month highs at the moment. Silver has also had a significant move, on track for the biggest weekly gain since July of 2016. So for those of you who might be new, or those of you who are more experienced, hopefully this gives you a bit of insight into how to trade the markets during times of geopolitics like this, and particularly when the bottom line is when potentially a war is on the cards, okay? And what does that mean for the markets? Well, essentially what you tend to see is the VIX. So this is a good lesson, guys, because it doesn't happen that often. And just so you know, because in future you can prepare yourself and get ready for these trade opportunities, because when they do come about, although it's not nice, it's terrible, obviously, around the world when we go through these periods, but you can use obviously some of the gains that you get in the markets. You can be charitable with some of the profits if you wish, but if you can see these sort of developments happening early, you can essentially capitalize on these via your trading. Okay, so VIX has increased a lot over the last few days. What does that mean? So how should you preempt these moves? Well, essentially, it means you often get a safe haven bid into gold, which has now surged over the last 3 days. It's near 1,300 US dollars per ounce. You also want to look at Japanese yen, because it's the safe haven of the currency. So when we see these big moves to the upside, you also want to have a look at the safe haven Swiss franc, Japanese yen, exactly what we've seen over the last few days. The Japanese yen has surged up in price, and US dollar Japanese yen, in contrast, has sold off. So we've been selling US dollar Japanese yen. We've also been buying gold, and we've been selling the S&P 500. That broke down significantly. We've been buying gold, still got a long position in gold. We'll see whether it can crack through 1300 today. And also, one of the newer markets obviously on the radar right now is now Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and Bitcoin. I mean, everything has had very big moves over this week. So Bitcoin is now, as of this morning, trading at the all-time highs. So this is the Bitcoin chart at the moment. It essentially broke above 2,900 last week. So this time last week on Friday, it's open at the weekend, this market, although it shows us a gap here, but it's open on exchanges over the weekend where you can buy and sell Bitcoin via exchanges. It's not closed at the weekend. So we get movement over the weekend, and then it gaps higher from the open here on Monday, and you can see it gaps above 3,200, backed and filled, held onto its gains, and now it's trading at 3,480. If you want to look at more in terms of our price forecastings on Bitcoin, go over again to either the Gold and Silver Club YouTube channel, or go over to my Twitter account, Gold Silver Phil, and we've got details on what we expect next for Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. But just to put that on your radar, Bitcoin right now is trading at all-time highs. So as you can see, the month of August is not a quiet month. There are a lot of traders away at the moment, and there's a lot of movement happening. So if you are around at the moment, and well, even if you're away, you can trade on holiday, doesn't really matter. You can trade by the beach, you can trade wherever really, as long as you've got access to the internet, mobile phone, laptop, you can be up and running. But I'll just put that on your radar, okay? So let's get into it then. So what sort of trade ideas are we looking at over the course of the US session today? Okay, so first of all, from a binary point of view, I do like the price structure of gold here at the moment. It has broken about above some key levels. I'm looking for the next major level of resistance to get taken out here, which is approximately 1290 to 1291. If we can take out that level, first of all, we should have a clear run for 1296, and then we might be on track to breach 1300. If it's going to happen, if there needs to be a catalyst for this to happen, CPI data, if that comes in as negative for the US, if we see the dollar break down again, then that will be likely a catalyst to see gold go higher. And also, if anything escalates today from the geopolitical front, that will also likely cause gold to potentially break out higher and break above the 1300s. It's the right geopolitical and fundamental backdrop right now for potentially a move higher, but at the same time, we could see a shakeout of the deck here for gold if we see that CPI data come in with an increase above expectations. That could see the US dollar get bid. We could see a breakout like we saw last Friday, and that was a very big move for gold. We sold off quite significantly, over 150-point move off the back of stronger than expected non-farm payroll data. So you have to be a bit nimble here. Gold has the potential to either break out and also correct at these levels as well. So I will be looking at the potential if that comes up at 1:30 London time. I'll show you a chart which is probably just a little bit better here. Maybe a raw chart will just show you a little bit cleaner here. So essentially, gold at the moment, if it does break above the swing highs here, if we get CPI data which comes in less than expected, we could see US dollar sell off and gold break out essentially. So that could be a buy trade for the price to be higher, lower time frame. I mean, you're up to you guys in terms of the trade idea. I'd be looking at the price to be higher over the course of 1 hour, and then looking at the price to be higher by the close of the day as well. So I'd likely split it up between two trades, looking for momentum to the upside. Obviously, if it pulls back and we start to see a more deeper correction there, I'd probably play that via a buy on the US dollar Japanese yen rather than shorting gold, because my concern would be that gold here, even if it does pull back today, anything that comes out of North Korea, because they're still essentially threatening that they're going to go ahead with a missile strike within mid-August, so that's approximately about a week away. And if any time anything comes out as a result of that, we could see the safe haven bid very quickly. It could resume again, unless you're looking for a quick day trade here. If we get some strong data from the US today for a sell short on gold, but then I would move over to the US dollar Japanese yen. So we look at the US dollar Japanese yen. It is oversold at the moment. You can see here we're back in oversold territory, certainly my RSI here back at the 30 level. So it is getting into an oversold level where it might bounce. In terms of targets to the downside, it's hit the first major target I was looking at, which was the 109 level. Beyond that, about the 108.50 level, but it is starting to get short-term oversold here. And I would consider actually potential for a breakout to the upside on strong data, and then sell back into it next week if it just comes back up to resistance and then pauses at that level, and then just look for it to break back down and essentially come back down to the lower end of the trend channel. But short term could look for a breakout. US dollar here as well, building a bit of a base, although over the last couple of days, it's not really managed to get above the 21-day moving average, so that will be in play. Silver at the moment, silver has broken above the 17 level. What I think all of us need to look at on silver, and this is something very important, okay, which for those of you who trade silver, you've got longer term positions, maybe you buy the physical as well, but more importantly, for those of you who trade it, the monthly chart is something which I find interesting right now, because we've been in this major pennant formation on silver going back to 2011, 2012, so essentially last 5 or 6 years here, where it's been in a downward trend and correction from 2011 going all the way back to 2016, 2017, major overhead trend channels, which I can extend a little bit further here. And we've got this huge pennant on the monthly chart. Last month, technical damage was done to silver, but only if we were to see a break and a close below this major underlying trend channel. But then by the end of the month, it managed to capitulate and was bid right back up towards the monthly highs over July. And you can see here we are on the verge of silver at $17 per ounce of breaking above. Well, it's already broken above July highs here, but we are on the verge of breaking out above major overhead resistance here, which could see silver significantly lift above 17. And that's just something to bear in mind. Once it really starts to get going, the gold to silver ratio got to 80-1 over July. Typically, that only happens every 18 months to 3 years. In the last 10 years, it's only happened approximately 4 times. One of those was before Brexit, and that was before we saw this huge run-up, which was over a 30% move from April through to July of 2016. We're at the verge now of potentially a much more significant move to the upside on silver, although it will back and fill, no doubt. But on higher time frames here, I'm looking at the potential for more significant upside. It's also the case for gold as well. I'll put both of these on your radar, but gold too, if we go over to the monthly chart here for gold, look at that. Gold has broken above a very important downward trending channel, which has been in place since 2016. And it's really been a make or break point. So it looked like over August and also at the beginning of August, like it was going to hold the upper end of that channel and resume the potential to go further down as the US dollar was managing to stage a recovery off the back of last week's non-farm payroll data. But everything has changed. Trump has changed everything. North Korea, the geopolitical tension at the moment has changed the overall price structure on this market. And if we do see things escalate over the next week, which is potential with the geopolitical threat currently really not calmed down as yet, we could see some significant, further upside here on gold. Now, I don't want to get too over bullish at the moment on gold. You need to be nimble on this market, take opportunities day to day on this trade, but just put it on your radar. Higher time frames, monthly, we've actually got a more significant buy signal, and we could really start to see additional upside, particularly if we break above the 1300 level. Gold could really start to fly, and it's not surprising actually to see it happen over August. I've seen this happen before. 2010 was a good example. A lot of traders are on holiday, not really paying attention necessarily to the markets. They're more likely to be looking at the sea or looking at the mountains as opposed to looking at their trading screens, and they miss some big opportunities. So there could be some big opportunities coming up, guys, for the next few days here, the coming month. It doesn't look like it's going to be a quiet August. Some Augusts are quiet. Doesn't look like this. Certainly so far, this month doesn't look like it's going to be quiet. It's probably going to be quite lucrative. Already this week has been quite profitable in terms of the opportunities which have resulted from Tuesday and the rhetoric coming out of Donald Trump from his press conference, okay, and the further rhetoric which came out yesterday, again backing up his comments from Tuesday, saying that he should have been tougher, okay. So there's a lot happening from that point of view. Also moving over to the oil market as well. Actually, oil have had a few questions on this. So oil, we've seen some real backing and filling over the course of this week. We've been stuck within relatively tight range, although yesterday oil dropped 3% off the back of OPEC data, which came out showing additional oversupply in the market, and that OPEC members were not being as compliant. It was the least compliant that they've been in output cuts since January of this year. Now, we've got some real backing and filling here because we've seen oil come back, pull back today. This is UK oil, but it's come all the way back down towards the 51 level, and we've seen the Energy Information Agency come out with further information today saying that, actually, let me just get this data for you. Hold on one second. Yeah, the International Energy Agency came out today on Friday saying that strong demand should help the market rebalance. So although there's oversupply, they're stating that there's stronger demand. So now we're seeing another hammer on the daily chart forming here for oil. Oil's been back in filling all week. I would suggest if Brent crude oil breaks below $51 per barrel, that's bearish, and we could see more downside. Looks like potential bull trap yesterday on a breakout to the upside. But if we move over and also have a look at US oil has come back to retest around $48 per barrel. Also broke down 3% yesterday after a breakout of resistance. It's back in filling as well, but it's back at the lower end of the trend channel. Everybody's waiting for the Baker Hughes oil rig count now, which will come out later on in the session at 6 o'clock London time. So unlikely to take a new position, a fresh position on oil until we get that data coming out a little bit later on in the session, but it could provide a good opportunity around 6 o'clock. Off the back of the CPI data, I'll be looking at gold. So potential for a breakout. If it breaks above, certainly if it breaks above 1291 and 1292, that's the next key level of resistance. Looking for a momentum trade for the price to close higher. That's the main trade idea I would look at there for gold, and also US dollar Japanese yen as well. So if the opposite occurs, if we were to see, for example, gold shoot down and the US dollar index shoots up, I would look for a play here by the US dollar Japanese yen. So I'd look to buy US dollar Japanese yen around these levels, take advantage of the likely potential retracement and break out higher here. Then I'll be looking for the sort of additional momentum trades this afternoon, S&P 500, see if we get more downside on that, see what sort of impact that has today as well. So a lot happening, guys. There's a lot of opportunities in the markets at the moment. So again, if you would like to be kept updated during the course of the week with our trade ideas, so shared with you every single day. We share all of our trade ideas with our traders, our exact entry, exit, take profit, and so on. I'll drop the link for you there into the chat, okay? And again, all you need to do in order to get access to that is go to www.jointhegoldensilverclub.com. Who's it for? Well, essentially, if you're a new trader and you really want to take your trading to the next level, or you might be experienced, but you can see where you'd like to get more involved in the commodity markets, better understanding of all the inverse correlations that we're looking to apply and the fundamentals as well. Very simply, you can make an application, become a member of the Gold and Silver Club private members live trading room. You get access to our webinars during the week where Gold and Silver Club expert traders analyze the markets in front of you, going through trade setups, picking out best entry, exit, take profit levels on positions. You get access, and this is really important because you get real-time access to our alerts. So you get the exact buy and sell trades that we're getting into, real-time alerted to every single position that we are getting into at the best possible price as well. And you also get access to our trading research and market insights. So that really helps you to get a really clear understanding, well-informed trading decisions, unique insights to make sure you're well equipped with the most accurate fundamental information you need to identify market trends early, predicting future price movements so you can act with confidence on trades as well. So again, the private members live trading room includes access to our live trading rooms. You get the live trade ideas daily shared with you, ready to implement for instant results, real-time trade alerts or our buy and sell alerts, real-time via email, SMS, exact details of where we enter into each trade, access to our private members live trading room, ongoing support and mentoring, and exclusive access to our trading research to give you an edge in the market. So again, guys, to make an application, it's www.jointhegoldensilverclub.com. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so with that, I wish you all a profitable day's trading. Looks like we've got a lot more happening over the course of the US session this afternoon. Do get in touch if you'd like to find out more. And yeah, have a fantastic Friday and a great weekend, and we'll speak to you real soon. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, good stuff. Thanks, Sharice. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you here on the next one. Have a great day. Good trading. All the best. We'll speak to you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.